This is the first Christmas we've had together in years.
I love you guys. I'm making up for some lost time.
Authorities are wondering if the masked vigilante who terrorized the city's underworld is back.
The past has caught up with me.
Should we be worried?
No, it's nothing. I'll be home for Christmas. I promise. When I wore this suit, I made a whole lot of enemies.
You're a Hawkeye.
Who the hell are you?
Some people have actually called me the world's greatest archer.
Are you one of those people? Just some Christmas.
Welcome back, everyone. This is going to be my Marvel Hawkeye trailer video. Happy holidays. Obviously, it's a very holiday-themed series. This will be my quick reaction video. I'll do a longer, full breakdown of this tomorrow. So there's a bunch of Easter eggs in here. They're basically doing Hawkeye Volume 4, so I'll explain that. If you're brand new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get all the episodes. I'll be doing videos for all the episodes, just like I did for Loki, just like I'm doing for Marvel's What If, all the other Marvel Disney Plus series. Obviously, one of the biggest reveals is Hailee Steinfeld as the Kate Bishop version of Hawkeye. I'll also explain what's going on with the whole Black Widow crossover because of the Black Widow post-credit scene with Yelena Belova, because of the way that Val basically gave her orders to kill Hawkeye. So as he says during the trailer, his past as Ronin is finally catching up with him. Although I think there's a little bit more going on when it comes to the whole Val of it. Many people want him dead though, clearly. But I'll just start at the beginning of this and go through shot by shot, talking about the Easter eggs. Obviously, probably one of the funniest things in here is the Captain America themed musical, A Timeless Hero. Of course, they would have a musical telling Captain America's story and the story of Avengers Endgame. But as you can see, since Avengers Endgame has ended, Hawkeye has basically been trying to make up for lost time with his family. I'm assuming because they feature that Captain America musical so much that he's taken them into New York City, into the city, to actually see the musical, because they know that he's an Avenger and he lived through all this stuff. But it just seems like they're at a Chinese restaurant during the holidays in New York City. Joe Russo's daughter is back playing a version of Lila Barton, who is also called Hawkeye, big joke during Avengers Endgame, even though Kate Bishop is sort of his successor, in the whole joke that she herself is the one who's going around the city calling herself the deadliest archer. Some people are calling me that. Are you some people? Yes. Big surprise here, they're not using WHIH for the news station, but he catches a broadcast and sees somebody wearing his Ronin costume. Obviously, this is Kate Bishop running around. He just doesn't know who it is. He just thinks that somebody has come to get him and is doing this to taunt him. Like he says his past as Ronin caught up with him. Kevin Feige did say that they would also be covering a lot of his time as Ronin during that 5-year time gap when he was going around the world killing all the mobsters. That'll probably be a combination of flashbacks, him talking about it with Kate Bishop, and other villains that he did not kill coming back to get him. There's that big trope of a lot of holiday-themed stories, all be home for Christmas, but not being able to make it home for Christmas because of circumstances. Obviously, in this case, it's very dire Marvel Avengers circumstances. But you think of classic holiday stories like Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, people trying to make it home, but not being able to because of crazy things around them happening. So he sends the rest of his family home and stays in New York City, where most of the series is going to take place, to deal with his quote-unquote masked vigilante that's wearing his old Ronin costume. It'll be interesting to see how she got his Ronin costume, too. We get the brand new version of the Marvel Studios logo customized for the Hawkeye series. Pretty much all the Disney Plus series, all the different individual characters have gotten a customized version of the logo. If you haven't read Hawkeye Volume 4, it's the Matt Fraction Hawkeye run. That's basically inspired most of the story of the series, but obviously they changed a couple of plot points because of what's happened in the Marvel movies so far. You see Hailee Steinfeld's Kate Bishop trying to take out some criminals wearing the Ronin costume, and then Hawkeye swoops in to try and stop all of them. As he rips the mask off, she freaks out, "Oh my god, you're Hawkeye." So even though you don't actually get the story of how they originally met during this, the way they're pitching this, that actually happened during the 5-year time jump. Like they're doing a version of her comic book story, but they're using that 5-year time jump between Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame when he was Ronin. If you're not familiar with Kate Bishop, she's basically a New York socialite born into a wealthy family, but her father is heavily connected to the mob. They've cast Vera Farmiga as her mother, and she is a huge actress, so I'm also guessing there's going to be a big twist with who her mother winds up being, because there was a report that Madame Mask would be one of the characters or one of the villains on the series, so she could wind up being a twist version of Madame Mask. In the comics, Kate Bishop's mother wasn't a really huge presence. It was really her father that had the ties to the mob. She follows him one day to one of his deals with the mob and gets captured and held hostage. Hawkeye winds up saving her as part of this big Avengers mission and just happens to take out the mobsters that were holding her captive. She winds up becoming this big Hawkeye fangirl, and it inspires her to become a badass just like him. So obviously they're just adding in all the Ronin backstory as part of this for the MCU version of Kate Bishop's origin story. He probably killed a bunch of mobsters that were holding her captive or doing something terrible with her family during that 5-year time jump, and then that's when she became the Hawkeye fangirl. But when he put the Ronin costume down, she found it and then put it on. Then they sort of give you the vibe of her character early on, like she's kind of fumbling her way through being a version of Hawkeye. And the tone of the series, I would say, is kind of like Die Hard, because like Die Hard is a Christmas movie because it happens during Christmas. They're kind of playing this like it's sort of Hawkeye's version of a Die Hard story, with him being a very John McClane kind of character, getting caught up in this. During the Matt Fraction run, they shared an apartment. This looks like them going back to a version of that apartment. This area of New York City that you see here in this shot is near where the old Avengers Tower used to be. Only because this is the Christmas right after Avengers Endgame. By this time, somebody is getting ready to buy the new tower. Although that really isn't happening till the events of Spider-Man Far From Home, which actually happens later after the events of this Hawkeye series. This is more like a couple months after Avengers Endgame, but after the events of Falcon and Winter Soldier. Obviously because of the whole Black Widow post-credit scene with Yelena Belova. Guessing that's going to wind up happening towards the end of the episodes. There'll be 6 episodes total, by the way. Marvel Disney Plus series are either longer episodes, like 45 minutes per episode, and there's 6 episodes per series, or they're shorter episodes, and they do like 9 episodes per series, like What If or WandaVision. So the Hawkeye episodes will be a little bit more like the length of the Loki episodes. Then when they have that funny moment of him saying, I'll be back in a day or two to his family, they finally reveal the mid-boss villains. So even though these seem like the main villains of the series, they're not. They're called the Tracksuit Mafia or the Tracksuit Draculas, but they play them more for comedy, like comedic villains. They're called so because they all wear tracksuits, and they use a moving company as a front for their operations. That's why it says Trust a Bro on the side of their van. That's why they have the funny moment of them trying to throw the Molotov cocktail into the window and Hawkeye just catching it and throwing it right back at him. Obviously, one of the episodes is going to be them crashing this big dinner that's happening that probably has something to do with the mob. Then because one of the biggest parts of this is him taking Kate Bishop under his wing and training her as his successor, you see a lot of the comedy of her just kind of failing at trying to be Hawkeye early on, like crashing through the window. Haley Steinfeld is one of those actresses that does a pretty decent job with this kind of comedic level of action. Then they finally introduce a version of Lucky the pizza dog, who is a big character during the Hawkeye series. Kate Bishop also winds up taking him with her during Hawkeye Volume 5 later as well. He's a dog that they rescue off the street, which is why it looks like he lost one of his eyes in an accident. This is Kate Bishop saving people in broad daylight wearing the Ronin costume. Not really sure when this is happening during the timeline of the series, because obviously at a certain point she'll stop wearing the Ronin costume and mostly start walking around wearing the purple costume. The purple costume is her normal costume though. It kind of seems like this scene of Hawkeye with all these people swinging all their weapons is actually some sort of Ren Fair cosplay situation. Like he's not actually fighting these people, they're just pretending to fight him. Then if you couldn't tell, this character is meant to be the Maya Lopez version of Echo. So she's actually a big Daredevil character. There's a rumor that Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin is also going to be orchestrating a lot of what she's doing during the series. Like Kingpin himself is supposed to show up at some point during the later episodes. I don't know if that means that Daredevil is also going to make an appearance or Matt Murdock is, because there's all kinds of rumors about him showing up during Spider-Man No Way Home in some of the other series too. But if you didn't hear the news earlier this year, they confirmed they're doing a full-blown Marvel Disney Plus spin-off series for Echo's character, and I believe that Kingpin is supposed to be a much bigger character during that. If you're not familiar with her character, the reason why she's called Echo is because she has very Taskmaster-like abilities. She can copy other people's abilities. So she's kind of like an anti-hero inside Marvel, but shows up as a villain for the first time. And obviously they're doing that during this Hawkeye series. She'll be going after them, but somebody is probably manipulating her. So she's not meant to be a legit evil character. They have the funny joke about him telling her that certain trick arrows of his are too dangerous for her to use. Like, wait a minute, you have more dangerous arrows than this? That's also a big running joke during that Matt Fraction run, is them just playing with a lot of the trick arrows that Hawkeye uses. They don't really get into that too much during the Avengers movies, like he just uses his arrows. They never specifically call out the different types of trick arrows that he uses. So obviously the biggest missing thing in here is Yelena Belova footage. They're probably going to save that for a little bit later on. I'm guessing that she won't show up till the end of the series. But obviously, big theory, everybody wonders if she will complete her mission and actually wind up killing the Clint Barton version of Hawkeye because someone is manipulating her to make her think that he was responsible for Natasha, Black Widow's death. That's the way that Val told it to her, the man responsible for your sister's death. Even though technically that's not exactly the way it happened. He tried to kill himself, but Black Widow just beat him out to it. And obviously there's the whole idea that eventually Haley Steinfeld's Kate Bishop version of Hawkeye will show up in a big Avengers crossover or a young Avengers crossover. Because in the next couple of years, between all the Marvel Disney Plus series and the Marvel movies that we have coming up, or that we've gotten the last year or so, they'll have all the original Young Avengers characters now. My longer breakdown video of this will post tomorrow, so make sure you have alerts enabled so you don't miss that. And everybody let me know what you think. It seems like it's going to be a really solid series. As they say, it's going to start November 24th and it'll run weekly till the end of the year, so that also means that it's going to cross over with the Star Wars Book of Boba Fett episodes, which will start in December. That'll be like The Mandalorian Season 2.5. I'll also be doing videos for that. They haven't completely announced what the schedule for that series is going to be, so once they do, I'll just include it in one of my videos. We'll also start getting some more Marvel Eternals trailer footage as well in the next month. While you wait for everything, everyone click here for my full Shang-Chi post-credit scene video, and click here for my full Spider-Man No Way Home Sinister Six trailer video. Thank you so much for watching, everyone stay safe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.